Alright, it's recording. Oh, battery pack is low, so it's going to have to be on the phone.
That's right.
Alright, that fire is starting, you know? I'm not sure if that's the Red Max fire or is that the
Well,
embers from Jonsered.
the
Yeah,
subject
smoke.
of this little mini video is the demise of Jonsered.
And the future.
Huh?
There's a future.
Nah, not really. The future's, yeah. When the future looks a lot like Partner Pioneer. And unlike this fire, we're trying to rekindle the fire because we're going to cook some burgers. But the fire is going to flame up as opposed to Jonsered, which is in the process of flaming out.
Phoenix. So explain to us what's going on. Mind if I go for some chips?
No, that's why they're here. Well, the Jonsered brand has been fading for a long time now, as we know. I mean, God, it's even fading in my store. And you know, I kind of feature it and push it, but even in my store, the Huskies are out selling the red ones 17 to 1. And you might go a day or two without selling a Husky, but you go weeks without selling a red one. You know, I guess I thought this was, you know, it's actually kind of worldwide. I think they're going to turn it into like another Pool and Pro. I guess it's going to be kind of a box, an upper mid-level box store brand. There's still going to be Tractor Supply here, and I hear from a friend in Norway that they're kind of doing something the same thing there. They're taking it out of the dealer base, and it's going to go into a couple of chains up there, and you know that's kind of a sad. You know, this 70E was one of the best Johnny's ever made, in my opinion. I still run that thing a lot. I didn't run it really today, but because I ran it on Saturday. What they're going to do is they're going to try to make some of these saws for the dealers in the U.S. They're going to take the Jonsereds and put Red Max labels on them. To me, that's mostly a flop. I don't really want to mess with them. There are certain urban markets where Red Max is a gigantic brand. You know, people go, what's that? Now, in saws, it's really nothing, but hey, we got flames. In saws, it's really nothing, but you know, they got huge numbers in trimmers and blowers in these landscape markets. I mean, they are a major player. Way more, it dwarfs what they're doing in the red saws in this country.
Well, and they're out of New Jersey, too.
Well, that's one of the core markets. You know, our Red Max distributor is the biggest Red Max distributor in the world. I mean, they're huge. You know, they got individual salesmen doing more at Red Max than Tilton was doing with Jonsered for the whole 2/3 of the country they had. So that tells you where it is. So from the sales numbers thing, I kind of get it. You know, painting them Red Max, that's not going to work. It's not going to work. You can go back, you can look at, you know, the history of the whole thing, and you could start pointing fingers at, you know, Tilton did this, and Jonsered never got that. You know, the thing is, it's too far gone. I kind of get it. It's a little bit on the sad side for a saw guy, but yeah, that's what's happening. So they're going away as a brand.
So what does Red Max bring to the table from the saw perspective?
I mean, like design-wise?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the little top handle, you know, the 435 Husky top handle, and there's a Red Max version of that. That's actually a Red Max Xenowood design. The 543 XP is actually going to be in the Red Max lineup. Jonsered didn't get it. In those urban markets where Red Max is like the brand, you look at some piggyback sales where guys need a saw, let me buy the Red Max, but you know, to try to put them in what used to be the traditional Jonsered dealer base, it's going to be a flop in capital letters. I mean,
Yeah, I don't know. There's an emotional component to it as well, because to be honest with you, the only Red Maxes I had any experience with is with the 543.
yeah.
Nice saw. It's not knock your socks off. It's not like a 242.
No, but you got to keep in mind, like it's really not about the saws themselves. You see, the days when you got to keep in mind, it used to be like Husky and Steel used to be pretty much just saw companies. And they were in the same kind of saw shops that you still would find Jonsered in today. These kind of a little out of the way, because used to be in the power equipment business, you had your saw dealers and your mower dealers. And they were kind of like there was a saw shop and you had the mower shop. Everybody wanted to be full line. Then when this landscape thing exploded over the last 20 years, supplying the handheld equipment that those landscapers need became huge business. And companies like Red Max and Steel and Echo really got into that good. Shindawa to a certain extent in some markets. And in order to be there, you gotta be in those stores. So everybody wanted to be full line. You couldn't just be saws anymore. And you get on, people are going to have like an anger at Husqvarna for making this call. It's really not. It's not them. Steel did the same thing years ago. They wanted to expand and have a big, nice, clean store, and they shut down an awful lot of dealers that just didn't measure up to their new standards. And Husky did the same thing. Was like, well, we're going to be a full line company. If you don't want to sell the lawnmowers and the tractors and everything else, we're going to find somebody that does. It's just, it's business. So to that degree, the industry has moved away from the type of saw shop where you would still find Jonsered. You kind of wish that it was all like that, but it's not anymore.
Well, the logging business has gone mechanical too, so the volume for the big pro saws is not like it used to be.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of where this whole thing's going. Did it deserve better? Other thing about Husky, they may be kind of pulling a plug on it now, but if it wasn't for Husqvarna, how many years ago would Jonsered have folded anyway as an independent company? People should also understand that when they took Jonsered brand away from Tilton, Husqvarna Corporate tried to make Jonsered a complete line in consumer products. They gave them snow blowers, they gave them tractors, they gave them walk-behind mowers, they gave them zero-turn mowers in the prosumer range, up to about $5,000 to $6,000 price selling. It didn't work because nobody ever heard of Jonsered snow blowers. Jonsered was known as a chainsaw brand. And now what they're trying to do with Red Max, they're going to give them saws, is they're going to give them the Husqvarna commercial mowing equipment. Now, it's really not bad equipment, but Red Max is not a commercial ride-on mower company. It's a handheld company. The guys in the suits are trying to ram this crap down the pipeline. Who's going to buy it? And the sales reps are going to go in, and it's like, a lot of dealers, probably would rather get rid of a line than add another one. And you look at Husqvarna's track record with Dixon and Yazoo keys and some of these other brands, now Jonsered, that they get a hold of. They're trying this grand experiment, and they're going to beat the drum, and the distributors are going to try to get people to buy this Red Max stuff. But everybody in the business, the dealers know the drill here. Even if you put a lot of energy into it, 3 or 4 years from now, they're going to say, well, this really we're not selling, so we're not going to do it anymore. So it's just, that's just not going to work. But, I can say that because I'm an independent guy. These guys that are sitting in the sales meetings shaking their heads, they say that, they don't have a job anymore. So I go downstairs to my basement and I look at my Jonsered collection. I can still enjoy it, like the one I ran today, but it all looks a little bit different now.
Well, that's good information. That means it makes absolutely no sense to invest in trying to be a Jonsered dealer.
Yeah, that whole idea is, I don't want to sell Red Max saws.
And the whole idea of being a Red Max dealer doesn't make any sense either. So for a guy like me, it makes more sense just to be a repair shop.
Yeah, exactly. Because it would be pointless to get involved in Red Max and say, I just want to sell the saws. You could do that with Jonsered. But to me, if you put it back into a saw perspective, it was hard enough selling Jonsered, which was known as a chainsaw company. So trying to sell the saws with Red Max written on them, I don't have great expectations for that.
I find it interesting what Steel did around here, and I wonder what the dealer reaction is. the first impression I'm getting from the dealer reaction is not happy. But we got 3 steel dealers,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, they jam you in. Yeah, they open up too many dealers. You know, they're opening up hardware chains, and they're still trying to tell people they don't sell in box stores. Everybody's looking for more business. I kind of get that. But you talk about the brands of the saws, and what's the most well-known, recognizable brand in power equipment? It's John Deere.
I was going to say John Deere, but
It is John Deere.
I didn't want you to get mad at me.
I don't get mad. But it's John Deere, right?
Mm-hmm.
John Deere couldn't sell saws labeled John Deere. They got the strongest brand in the industry. When they had them, they had Echo was making them, and they bought Home Light and they ruined what was left of that, so they were trying to sell Home Lights. Then FCO was making them, and even John Deere, you know, with that brand name, they couldn't get a piece of the saw business. They finally gave up with their own branded handheld stuff, and then they cut the deal to get the steels in all the John Deere stores. So, if you couldn't do it with John Deere, and paint them green, you know, with the magic green and yellow John Deere saws wouldn't sell, you know, sticking Red Max labels on the Jonsereds is just plain stupid.
Yeah. Well, no truth in that. Well, the other thing they did around here, the steel guys, is they won't let the best steel dealer in the area also has Husqvarna, and steel won't let them be a so-called premier dealer because of that.
Yeah.
And they have these other shops that know nothing about the saws, nothing about them. They're tractor stores and, you know, heavy equipment.
Yeah.
And they let one of those people be premier dealers, and they have nobody even service them. They have to shop out to get them serviced.
They are the most dictatorial company in the business. They say you're not allowed to have this, you can't do that. You know, there's a dealer that we know that we won't name, but you know, their steel is so, I guess, all right, I'm going to rip steel. And I haven't had any beer yet. But I'm ripping policies, not the equipment. But, you know, they go in and they are so hung up on following rules and regulations, tell you what you got to do, that he had used steel saws in his store that he was selling. And the steel rep came in and got all over him because he had Oregon bars on them. And even if they're used, he's telling you you're not allowed to sell a steel saw with an Oregon bar. I mean,
You know,
that's the level of. Now, I'm not saying that they don't put a lot of dollars through some of these stores, because the stuff is, you know, the thing is, there's not that many really good handheld brands left now. It's really a 2-horse race in chainsaws. So the thing is, if you want to be in the saw business, you really got to have Husky or Steel if you want to sell numbers, and that's just what it is. That's not a knock on the Dolmar Makita stuff or the Echo Ocean Daiwa product. Yeah, that's all good stuff, but it doesn't sell.
no? I'll keep doing what I'm doing. It would have been nice to have John trade at the dealership. Problem is, I know that place over there, and I've never seen any gold